I'm struggling even now with, I hope everyone, even the people who don't end up in the top 3, know how hard it was to come to a decision, but also that I enjoyed every single book, and I cannot say enough about each of these poets. So our number 3 selection is The Only Card in a Deck of Knives. And so that's Lauren Turner. And we had sent out emails to the poets who've been selected, and we did ask them to have a poem handy with them. Don't know if they do or not, but Lauren, do you have a poem with you that you'd like to share with us?
I can absolutely read a poem. Thank you so much. I'm extremely honored. Okay, so I'm going to read something that's near the end of the book. As you touched on, it deals a lot with chronic illness. I was diagnosed with a progressive illness at 27, which causes cysts to form in my lungs, and unfortunately, prognosis is not good. So I spend a lot of time interacting with doctors, and I just wrote a poem about just kind of my respirologist and just the role that like doctors and medical care play into your life as a person who has to live outside of a diagnosis and outside of an illness. So it's called In This Business of Caring. She says, "We don't want to make you sicker than you are. Body scanned, a nude under ultraviolet. Paint me with luminol to reveal where the crime occurred. I am a child's ceiling of glow-in-the-dark stars, and that's fine, unless I want my own child to sleep under it." Each appointment, she takes my hands into her hands like hooves. My grandmother couldn't find a foal in the Winnipeg toy shops, so she gave me a donkey, and I learned to prefer donkeys. Children are simple in ways. I remember my mother fainting in every garden on our walk home from the fairgrounds, and it was fine. I waited, crouched gnome-like, imagining my pinafore tent. She says every tumored organ is still playing along. My body carrying an embryo underwater would drown me inside to lift its cargo towards Earth. I am waving off the babe in my husband's arms, and that's fine, unless we want our own child to sleep there. Each appointment, she hangs immobile above my grief. My grandmother couldn't buy the time to call after the news, so she gave me silence, and I learned to prefer silence. Adults are simple in ways. I remember a mother letting her baby chew my coat buttons in the cafe, how I was fine and kept my tears for later. I waited, smiled hurt-like, imagining my future a swaddle. She says, caring won't always feel this way, and I know it, didn't I always know? Thanks very much.
As you can hear, it's a remarkable collection. Your skill with poetry blew me away, humbled me actually, because I was, I'm lost for words, I'm sorry, but thank you so much.
No, I'm very honored, thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, this is so hard to do. And my number 2 selection was Wash's Praise. This is a lovely, lovely collection, and I just, let's just hear from Nornega, and please tell me if I'm saying your name correctly. I should have checked first.
Hello. Thank you very much. Thank you, Juanina. This is very moving to me. I'm in Cairo at the moment, and I'm in a bit of a strange situation. I had to sort of duck into a friend's place because I didn't get home in time. So I'm on my phone, and it's sort of a little bit surreal to be in a corner of a strange apartment, listening to all of these beautiful books be talked about, and by such a sensitive reader. I wasn't told to bring a poem, so I don't have a poem. I'm not sure what I can offer, but I'm really very moved.
I'm doing that senior thing of being muted and talking. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. I would offer to read one, but I don't know if I could do them justice. It can be very challenging to read another person's work sometimes in terms of pacing, and your sense of pacing is what blew me away with this collection. So I will not read one for you if that's okay. I just recommend people take a look at this collection. It is quite remarkable, and just the way that I'm going to read something from the back just so people can hear a little bit more about it, since you can't read us a poem, and I'm sorry that you didn't get that message. It says, Coco is a young immigrant woman in Toronto. Her faith is worn threadbare after years of bargaining with God to end her loneliness and receiving no answer. Then she meets her mirror image. Muhammad is a professor and father of two. He's also married. Heartbreaking and hilarious, Wash's praise chronicles Coco's spiraling descent, the transformation of her love into something at first desperate and obsessive, then finally cringing, an animal, utterly without grace. Her best friend, Noof, remains by her side throughout, and together they face the growing contradictions of Coco's life. What does it mean to pray while giving your body to a man who cannot keep it? How long can a homeless love survive on the streets? These are some of the questions this first novel swishes around in its mouth. Nice description, and it lives up to it very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been holding these books up and forgetting the one that comes next has a zillion little post-it note things on it because I want to go back and read all these poems. So here goes. You can see that all the little post-it notes on here. There's probably dozens of them. I think they're a bit transparent. So The Responsive Weeds, Bertrand Vickers-Smith. So would you read us a poem? Do you have something with you that you could read for us, or would you like to talk a little bit?
I do have a poem that I can read. First of all, I have to say I'm just shocked. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. To be in the company of such great poetry as well. I understand the difficulty you must have had, Yonina, in trying to decide between these. And frankly, I don't know what I would have done in this case. So thank you so much. I'm really, really pleased and very, very surprised as well. So I'm going to read a poem at the end of the collection. It's called Accidental Agriculture. And this is a poem, as Yonina already said, this is a collection that is about figuring out where my identity as a Black person fits into the prairies and the typical identity or stereotypical identities even that we think of when we think of the prairies. And so part of this collection tries to literally encounter the landscape. Another part tries to deal with the history. And then the part that I deal with in this poem is a bit biographical. So it's not a single episode I'm going to be relating to you here, but it's a kind of a compendium of several. So here's my accidental prairie identity in this poem called Accidental Agriculture. The bruising beginning, face rubbed in Alberta's finest, orthic dark brown churnism, where wheat flourishes and barley wails. After the fight, we congregate in the principal's office. Punishments meted out to him, the aggressor, who impugned my face against the ground because its darkness inspired a simile, part-time prairie poet he was, and punishments meted out to me, the victim, so-called. Well, why did you fight back? Why do you people always fight? Now I have to punish you, too. The principal glares at me, his eyes a shock of literal blue. Outside, on my way home, I pondered the view from the top of a rare hill. An indifferent field spilled with dandelions was splayed out below. This accidental agriculture will be swallowed by an instantaneous city, its inevitability, its ignorance. I saw the whole against the horizon. A 9-year-old, a timeless landscape, a flatness ensuing. My tender head still throbbing from the blunt encounter, I reached with a quiet fist to rub at the soreness swelling around my eyes. Well, why did you fight back? When the Black child is 6 years old in Harlem, he suddenly sees everything he has been before and all that was sown before him and how it has been sown before him. And this, my muse, James Baldwin, muses, is the fundamental difference between any child growing anywhere in Alberta and the child that must see things through Black eyes. Thank you very much. And again, thank you so much for your acknowledgement. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I wish you could see these, how many of these.
Wow.
I think they're a bit, like there's probably 20 of them. And I just want people to understand too that there's some history in here. And I like the way you've woven the history in by naming the people that are in the poems, but not explaining too much. Like, I mean, this is what poetry is really allows us to do. And it makes us curious too. So now people might want to look up some of this history. And as a person who comes from Métis fur traders, I was astounded. I did not even know that there were Black fur traders. So this is the kind of story that we really need to hear. We really need to know the history of this country. And there's so many others, including in this top 10. There's so many stories that people need to hear for different reasons. And I've just loved, I just cannot say enough, and love is probably not doing it justice, but I hope that the little Post-it notes do let you know that there's like, I've got to go back and read that line. I got to do this. And just thank you so much. And thank you to everyone. I cannot tell you how difficult it was, even though these are clearly brilliant, all three of the top ones. Even to come to the top 10 at times, there was just like piles of books. And I finally turned to my husband a little bit. My husband's a poet, Gary Ward, a lovely man. He's here with us somewhere. Where are you, Gary? Are you still here? Oh, there he is, got his camera off. Anyway, I returned to him. I was kind of blessed and have been blessed as a poet throughout my life, having a husband, someone sitting right next to me that I can say, what about this line? Or what about that? And as a contest person, what about this? Like, so I want to acknowledge his assistance with my going over these books, because you only can talk to people who are on the inside, right, Janet? And my husband, who knows not to tell anyone. I hope I haven't said something illegal.
No, it's always good to have support.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Janet, and for all the work that you do, and for all the volunteers at our class. You guys are doing fantastic work, very important work. Thank you. And thank you to all the contestants. And
thank you so much, Yonina. That was such a huge job, and I don't know how you did it. The top 10, I just want to recognize each of you for your amazing work, and I recommend that everyone go out and buy the books. Yes, and go to your library and ask them to order it if they don't have it already, or definitely get these books into your psyche, absorb them, get them into your heart. I just wanted to recognize all of you and the publishers as well. A New West Press, Garnica Editions, Knightwood Editions, University of Regina Press, McClellan and Stewart, Signature Editions, Knightwood Editions, and Buck Writer Books, Woolsack and Wynn, and Caitlin Press. Thank you all. We need our publishers to publish fabulous works like these. And like I said, Yonina, I don't know how you just, we had so many fabulous books this year once again come in, and I know it was not an easy job. So thank you so very much. I don't know. I'm just feeling like I need to get another round of applause for everyone. Yeah, I miss in person. So let's do this. Guys. Woo!
Sending you all the best.
Yes, and congratulations to Bertrand and Nor and Lauren. Thank you so much. So I guess we're moving on to our next portion of our little event here. We have a tribute to Fred Cogswell. Of course, yes. If you all see the slide up there, thank you, Yonita. I can't praise you enough. And you're so busy and you still manage to make all the deadlines and do everything. And so yes, that is a lovely collage of some of Fred Cogswell's books. As you can see, he's a very prolific gentleman. I'd like to read a bio of Fred before I announce our special guest.